Before the earthquake hit, we were preparing a very strong year in 2011 because of all the investments we have been doing for the last years in terms of products, in terms of technology, and even in terms of geographical expansion. You know, new plants, new markets, new platforms. When the earthquake hit on March 11, we had to revise our plans. So, you know, I had to announce that maybe in 2011 we may be selling more cars than in 2010, and announce it at the moment where we announced the financial results. But I was not pretty sure because we did not have a clear picture about the amount of damage yet in our plants and at the level of the suppliers. With the announcement of today, we feel much more comfortable because first, practically our plants are fully reestablished. We are at normal production, and if not at, very near it. Obviously, it's restricted. There are some engines we still are limited, or some version or specification we cannot make. But we have been able to reestablish the situation very quickly. And because of the strength of the product lineup and the strength of the technology we're bringing, we are able to overcome I would say the headwinds that in 80 yen to the dollar represent for any company exporting from Japan. So 2011 could have been a major year for progress and development of Nissan. We had to downgrade it a little bit because of, from one side, the earthquake, from the other side, the yen very strong, but it's still going to be a year of growth. I would say significant growth, 10% more in volume for the year. Well, so far it's true on the performance of the month of May and what June's looking like. We have a better forecast also than our peers, but forecast is a forecast. We will see on the reality. If we are moving faster than competition or our peers, I would obviously attribute it to the fact that we have reacted very quickly. I think on March 11, when the earthquake hit, we had already a crisis committee immediately in place within, I would say, minutes than it happened. We had a great, and then, you know, we have a long experience of cross-functional work, crisis management, for other reasons than the earthquake, so we put it at work at that moment. And I think also the work ethic of Nissan employees has been great. I think people have been absolutely relentless in their efforts, extremely focused on the priority to bring back the production as soon as possible to normal, and do it in a way where, you know, Japan was working with the United States and China and Europe in order to minimize the impact for the company. So nobody played his own turf. People played for the company, which also explained, you know, the speed at which we came back. On top of this, we had a great collaboration with our suppliers. So very quickly, exchange of information and support to our suppliers was extended. All of this, I think, explain the fact that we have been extremely responsive, and hopefully, you know, we will be able to continue always to beat our forecast. Well, you know, we discovered through the crisis that we still have an abnormal level of dependency on a very limited number of suppliers with a very limited number of plants. For example, it was difficult to see because these were not our first ranked supplier. These were suppliers rank 2, rank 3, which means they are suppliers of our suppliers. And we discovered in some cases that some suppliers were in practically unique position because they were the only ones supplying a part, and that they were supplying the part only from one plant. So if something was happening at the plant, we were stuck as a company. So we learned it during this crisis, and we're going to organize ourselves for this never to happen again, which means we will never going to allow again one supplier to be in position of monopoly, and particularly if we accept him to be in position of monopoly, then he has to have at least two different sourcing. So if anything happened, and by the way, it's not only in Japan, that means the sourcing can be in Thailand, and all of a sudden you have a flood in Thailand and the plant is stopped, we're stuck. So this is lesson number one. And lesson number two is the importance of localization. That means, you know, we need to continue to push for cars being sold in China, being built and sourced in China, cars being sold in Mexico, being built and sourced in Mexico. And every time we have dependency on other countries, we have a very complicated, you know, supply chains. And on top of what this represents in terms of financial burden, because we have long pipeline of products, you know, it just makes your supply chain extremely vulnerable to any surprise happening. So this was a good opportunity to reinforce the fact inside Nissan of the necessity of localize as much of our production in the main markets where we are competing.